Do you want to make your app easier to use? I bet you do. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about validating your user inputs, showing them warnings when they get it wrong, and even disabling and enabling buttons when they get things right and wrong, right? So the idea here is we're helping protect the users from themselves by making the inputs, a little easier to use and keep them out of trouble. And so along the way, as we go through this concept, we're going to talk about some different functions like IsBlank, IsEmpty, IsMatch. We're going to mess with the visible property, the display mode properties. We're going to delay outputs, allow empty selections. Right, we're just going to kind of work through a bunch of the little pieces. So not that you can recreate what I'm doing here one for one, but you learn all the little pieces. So when you have those scenarios where you want to do user validation, you can do it yourself. Sound like fun? Well, then let's just switch over to my desktop and take a look. All right, so here I thought we would just start with the end in mind, right? Kind of some of the functionality we want to build. So here you can see that right now my save button is disabled, and that's because name and age are required fields. The other two are optional. So if we go in here and put in a name, right? So Shane, and then the age, it says must be 18 or older, but what happens if we mistype that and we just type in 4 instead of 40, whatever I am, right? If we click out of there, we're gonna get a little message. Hey, must be 18 or older, and the control reset, right? That's using the OnChange property. We'll learn how to do that today. All right, well, let's do 44. Better, I think I'm older than that, but whatever, doesn't matter. Favorite color, pretty straightforward. Mine is orange. Email must be a valid email format. So watch what happens here. If I start to type in Shane at, oh look, must be a valid email format. So then now if I do Shane at powerapps911.com, which is a valid email format, the little warning message goes away, and finally we can save our data. Yes, right? So this is what we're going to build. We're going to walk through, we're going to add all these pieces one by one and build something very similar to this so you guys can understand how these components work, because I want you to learn all the little pieces so that you can build big, more complex things instead of just recreating exactly this, right? All right, so let's X out of this. And so over here, we'll just go to a blank screen. And so the first thing we're going to want to do is we will insert ourselves a text input, because this is the most common way you're going to get input from your user. So what if we want to check to see whether or not they've put something in there? Let's delete the default text, right? And so then the easiest way to start with this type of stuff is throw a label on the screen, right? Anytime we're trying to learn, we throw labels on the screen. And so what you're going to want to use here is the IsBlank function. Just going to put IsBlank and then the name of your control, which is text input3.text, it's output. And so the IsBlank function returns true if it's blank. It returns false if it's not. So this is a way to test if a field has data, right? If we hit play and as soon as we start typing stuff in here, that immediately changes to false. So IsBlank is how you check if something is blank or not. Now keep in mind that IsBlank is for checking fields or records. Why do I say that? Because if we insert another label here, sometimes when people don't know what they're doing, they will insert IsEmpty and then they'll say text input3.text, right? They're like, IsBlank, IsEmpty, it's gotta be the same thing. Well, if we blank this out, what happens? IsBlank is true, which is correct. IsEmpty still says false, right? IsEmpty does not work for fields records, right? It only works for a table. So you would never use IsEmpty if you were checking this, right? One of the things that you might think about here, IsEmpty is kind of the same as saying count rows greater than 0. IsEmpty means that there was 0 records, which count rows would have returned 0 records, right? That's the way to think about it. That's IsEmpty versus IsBlank, a very common point of confusion for people. Now that we understand what that is, if we were to say insert a button down here at the bottom, remember our save button, how would you use this information? Well, we go over here and we would go to your button's display mode. Buttons have display modes. And so display mode edit means the button is clickable, and display mode disabled means it is grayed out. It's still there. But Shane, what about display mode.view? Don't ever use display mode.view with the button. Why? Because it's very confusing. It looks clickable, but if you look, it's actually not. This is super confusing for your users. Don't ever use view. It's either disabled or edit. So those are the modes we want. How do we use this information? What we're going to do is we're going to go up here and we're going to say, all right, display mode, if IsBlank text input3.text. So if that's blank, what do you want this to be? We want the display mode to be disabled, correct? Because the idea there is it would be disabled because it's going to be a required field for us. And then if it is not, then you want it to be display mode.edit. Now the button's grayed out. If we go up here and we put in a name like buddy, Now the button is clickable. That is how you're going to do this. And we're going to build upon this as we go, but at its core, that's what it's all about. Some type of criteria that disables or enables your button. Now in the demo, I also then just had a label up here above that said name. And then you also might have noticed over here, I had this little red star. So how did I put that there? It is nothing complicated. It is also just another label. And then we're just going to change the text for that to be a star. And then we're just going to change the color to be red. There you go. Now you can make it bigger, smaller, slide it around wherever you wanted it. But that's literally all it is. Just a little text symbol. I know, nothing exciting. Hopefully you weren't hoping for anything exciting. So there's your first step. Now I will talk about one other thing with the button here. So that's the display mode. Some people, instead of doing that, will go down here to the visible property of the button and they will show and hide it. And here you could just basically say IsBlank text into 3.text like so. And so, but you don't want that. You want the opposite. So then you would just wrap this in a not. So then not is blank. And so now the button shows up when it's not blank. And if it is blank, then the button is not there. Don't do this. The reason I don't want you to do this is it's really disheartening to a user if they land on a screen that wants a bunch of input and there's no button to save the input. Why would I start putting in data if there's no save button? Whereas if you show them the button, so let's change this back to true and then comment out that. But if you show them the button and it's just grayed out, then their brains are like, all right, cool. When I make this little red thing happy, that's going to go away, right? This is reducing the mental load. Don't ever hide buttons. Always change their mode based on what's going on. Okay, so that's the first field we need to make. The second one, we want to do the email. Now for the email, it's kind of the same, but it's kind of different. So we'll throw a label in here. We'll set this one to say email, and then we'll insert a text input. And so for the text input, we'll clear this out. Now in that example though, I was able to check to see if it matched the format of an email address. So the way that works, let's just reuse this one, is there is a function in Power Apps called IsMatch. IsMatch checks a text like text input for the field we just created, .text. And then you can say, all right, check to see if it matches a specific pattern. In this case, we're going to say match.email. Right now, that is false. If we go here and we start to type in Shane, doesn't match, doesn't match, Power Apps 911 doesn't match, and then com, it does match. Now it's a true. So what this is really doing is this is a pattern that's saying, hey, is there multiple characters in front of the @ symbol? Is there multiple characters, then a dot, and then 2 or more characters at the end? So it's not saying this is a valid email address in the world. It is saying that this matches the pattern of an email. IsMatch uses regex expressions. Thankfully, they have a bunch of them built in, like this match email. But it does regex, easy for me to say, expressions underneath the hood to see if it matches the particular pattern you want. So if you want to have it match a phone number pattern and, INV and then 4 digits for invoice numbers, social security numbers, it doesn't matter. You can configure that, right? Today's session is not on IsMatch. We're not going to go into that in too much. But I guess I'll put a link down in the description if you want to the Microsoft documentation on IsMatch. Or if you want me to make a video on that, then hit like. I don't care. Actually, I do care, but hit like. But leave me a comment and say there should be a whole video on IsMatch, and I bet you could talk me into it pretty easily. So now that we understand, though, how that works, if you remember over here, when I did this, so right now it's nothing because it's not required. But if I started to type in this and then I stopped, then all of a sudden we got the warning. So how does that work? The way that is going to work, now that we understand that IsMatch is what we can use to check, is we're going to say insert a label, and we're going to, actually we're not going to insert that label. We'll copy this red one because it already does exactly what I want as far as being red. There you go. And so then we're going to just change this to say email required, something simple, right? You could write something much more nicer than that. And what we're going to do is we're going to control the visible property of this control, and we're going to say not IsMatch text input for.text match.email. So like that and that. And so then now if we hit play, what's going to happen? So right now it shows up email required. But that's not exactly what you want, because remember, email is not required here. And so what we're really saying, I guess I should change that message, is put, let's change this to say email wrong. Because right now the email is not wrong, it's just blank. So for this visible property, what we want to happen here is we want this not as a match and IsBlank text input for .text. Actually, we want not IsBlank, so not IsBlank. Because really what we want to do is we only want this to be visible if they've typed something and it's not there, right? When it's completely blank, that's okay. But if they start to type in something, so if they just type in buddy, email is wrong. But when they get to buddy@powerapps911.com, it goes away. So the idea here is that we're controlling the experience, because we don't always want to show it. We only want to show it if they've typed something, but it's not a valid email format. A little bit of a twist on your thinking. Now, one of the things I don't like about what's happening here, though, is as soon as I start typing, it yells at me. I don't like the stress of that. So with your text inputs, you do have the ability to change the property called DelayOutput. It's false by default. Change that to true. What that does is that will wait until you've stopped typing for 1 second before it recalculates. So now if we go in here and we type in buddy@powerapps911.com in one motion, then the message never showed up. But if we were to go back in here, let's just delete this out again. And so we type in buddy, and then we get stuck to do the @ symbol. Now it's wrong because I've waited a second. But then as soon as I start again, it's going to, it's still not going to update until I've stopped for a second. So it's not perfect, but delay output is nice. Now your question is, Shane, can I control how long the delay output is? I wish you could. You cannot. It's roughly 1 second. There's nothing you're going to do to change that. So there's 2. Oh yeah, I forgot to remind you, right? Sign up for one of my training classes. I've got a live class coming up real soon. I'm always teaching live classes. I've got on-demand classes, lots of fun training over at training.powerapps911.com. So go sign up today. Thanks. Now let's add an easy, boring one, right? We let our brains rest for a second. So we'll insert a label. Now, earlier I wanted to add fave color. So we'll do that. And then we will just insert ourselves under input a dropdown. Now, how does this change things? It doesn't. It's the same exact logic. So if we want to check to see, I guess we should put colors in there, right? Make it make more sense. We'll do a square bracket. Remember that format makes a single column table with red, blue, and green, and just one column called value. If we want to see what we had chosen there, then you would just say dropdown to .selected.value, and then whatever color they've chosen. So if I hold down the Alt key and then go check on blue, there's blue. Easy enough. Now, how do we check to see if that is blank? Well, there's the text it's outputting. So now that you know how to output the text, just throw an IsBlank around that. Right now, that's false. So that tells me they have chosen one of those colors. If we go here, if we wanted to have it be blank, we could go here and we would have to change the dropdown to be allow empty selection. We would change that to true. Now, if we'll just hit play to make it easier. If we deselect blue, now we get the thing. When we do green, we've got a color. I wanted to point that out. Like when you're doing IsBlank, it checks fields and records. It doesn't care, where they're coming from. So it's okay that you're doing, that particular scenario. It doesn't matter. So then now what we want to do, one more to add here. So this one will be a little trickier. We're going to do this one differently. And I probably wouldn't have done this one differently if I was building an app, because I want them all to behave the same, but I want to show you guys a separate way. Remember when we were over here, when we went and set the age to 3, when I click out, it shows it must be 18 or older, and it reset the field back to nothing because we only want numbers that are 18 or greater. In order to do that, what you're going to do, I guess insert a text input first. We'll go here. We're going to do a couple of things. We'll clear out the default. We're going to then change the format over here on the right to number. So that way they can only type in numbers in the field. And then we're going to take advantage of a different property. We're going to hit the drop down here and we're going to go to OnChange. OnChange is a property that triggers whenever the control is changed. It's called OnChange. And so here we could do something like this. We could say if self.text, now we'll just write it out anyway. Self.text is less than 18. Now it's going to yell at you because self.text is text and we're trying to do a number comparison. So we got to turn that into a value. So we'll say value. That'll turn the number 4 into, or the text 4 into the number 4. So we can do a evaluation like that. So if itself is less than 18, then what I need you to do is I want you to reset self. And remember, self is just a way for controls to refer to themselves. So I don't have to say reset text input 5 or check text input 5. It's in the control itself, just reference itself by using the word self. So if we do that, now if we go here and on change, if we change it to 33, when we click out, nothing happens. If we change it to 2, when we click out, it automatically resets. Now, on the other one, I had some hint text as well, and this just said must be greater than 18, like so. So now we've got that in there. And then on change, on the other scenario, I had it do a pop-up. And so what I did here is I did a semicolon, and I used the notify function. The notify function, I said, must be older than 17, I guess is really the way we think of it, right? 18 is how we wrote it. And then I can go right here and I can set the notification type to be an error. And so then once again, if we hit play, we say age must be greater than 18. We type in 7, we click out, we get must be older than 17. Right? I wrote that wrong. I wrote greater than 18. Forgive me for my minor, but you get the idea. But so we have the ability, and then by doing the reset, it just sets it back to blank. And now they do 22, and now it works as needed. Okay. Now we also know that we wanted age in this scenario to be required. So we're going to just put a little thing down here. Okay. So the last thing we need to do is now we got to make our button honor all of these. Remember, we're not going to mess with visible. We didn't like that at all. So we're going to go back to this display mode. And so here, before we did the first one, that was easy enough. We're just going to combine these. So that's the first one. So now what do we want? If IsBlank that was disabled, what else would we might do it? And, not and, we want to use or. So if any of these are true, we want this thing to be disabled, right? And so what are we doing for age? We're going to do as text input 5. So we say IsBlank text input 5 dot text. Okay. So if either one of those are missing, this button would be disabled. Now for favorite color, we're not going to check anything, because it's a drop down, right? It's not part of our equation. Like if they put something in there, great. If they don't, great, but they can't put bad data in there. So we don't have to do any validation for it. Now for the email, remember we had that crazy logic, and that crazy logic was in this label. Where'd my label go? Right there. Now I'm going to rename this label. I very rarely rename labels, but I will rename this one to make my thing easier. Warn email. And so what I want you to do, right? This is the logic. Basically, if this red is showing here, the button should be disabled. If this red is not showing, the button doesn't need to be disabled, correct? So what I want you to do is, instead of copying this, go back here and we're just going to say, or label warn email dot visible, right? That will be true or false. And if it's true, then the label is being shown and we don't want them to be able to validate, so they can't go forward. So right now, if we go back here and we put in a name, we'll just put in buddy, the button's all good. If we mess up age, button's disabled. Put the age back, button comes back. But if we go back here to the email, if we delete it out, that's okay, that's safe. But if we type in something that doesn't match the email format, email wrong, then there is our button disabled again. When you start doing this for yourselves, right? Remember, I didn't try to write this all at once. I didn't do any of this. I solved a bunch of little problems, and then we stitched them together. The same for you. Please don't send me a formula that's 400 characters long and be like, hey, what part of this is wrong? I'm going to say, well, which one did you add last that broke it? So you add the first one, check it works. Add the second one, check it works. Third one, check it works. Until you get there, right? Baby steps, fail fast, solve a bunch of small problems, and you're going to be able to get to the answer. But with this, you have now got all the pieces that you need to add validation and make your apps easier to use. Questions, comments, thoughts, leave them below. Always kind of fun. Or if you want to just download this whole working app, right, over at training.powerapps911.com, you can do that. just sign up for the YouTube library and you get this and all the other apps and you get to watch all this stuff ad free. There's lots of great reasons to sign up for the YouTube library. Yeah, and I guess with that, I'm going to say thanks and have a great day.